Welcome to the Dirty Penguin Presents Movies! Welcome to the Dirty Penguin Presents Movies. I'm your host, Kevin Waits, and I'm joined in the igloo, as always, by my faithful penguin co-hosts, Doug, Angie, Jesse, Andy. Today we're squawking about The Way of the Gun. The Way of the Gun. What year was this? 2000s. The Way of the Gun. 2Ks. The Way of the Gun.
That's 2000.
Yes, a 2 and 0 thrisely.
Now, Doug, this is your pick. Before we jump into it, why don't you give us those fresh movie facts?
Fresh facts, buddy.
Give it to us straight, Doug.
Play the facts.
Give it to us straight,
facts, buddy.
Those fresh facts, Doug.
The Way of the Gun, 2000. This movie, to follow the topic of the day, is movies that critics hated, the audience loved. This was my pick. I chose The Way of Gun. It was 45 on Rotten Tomatoes, and it got a 70. It got a 70 audience review, which I don't think I'll be getting that in this one.
I
don't think the flippers are going to corroborate
I
that.
don't think so.
So, this starred Ryan Phillippe, Benicio del Toro, Juliette Lewis, James Caan, Taye Diggs, and the always handsome Taye Diggs.
When was this?
Yes, very much.
Before, like, say, leaving Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Oh, no, he.
Good looking.
I think they're all non-good looking. Benicio del Toro.
I much prefer the older Benicio. Anyways.
Did you pick this?
So the director was Christopher McQuarrie. He's known, his main movie, like the Usual Suspects. Everybody, it's like that's another
yes.
cult classic type movie.
When did that come out? When did that? That's
this was
before
one of
this,
his
right?
first movies. Yeah, it's for Usual Suspects was like his first movie.
Okay, but that was before this, right?
He's also like
Yes.
what you would call Tom Cruise's writer and director. He's done Valkyrie, The Mummy. Hold on.
Oh,
Directed Jack Reacher, the last two Mission Impossibles, and the next two Mission Impossibles. And by the way, the last two were spectacular.
that Fallout Nation
And Rogue Nation and Fallout.
Explosions or
Rogue
whatever?
Nation and Fallout.
Oh, okay, yeah, there.
And he's
Whatever.
doing the next two. They've already signed on for two more. And a movie I think we've already done, Edge of Tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah,
He wrote it.
there we go.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That's
so you
right.
think I would have enjoyed this movie more?
Right, me too.
Huh.
With you there,
Well,
Angie.
I mean, I think, hold on. Edge of Tomorrow is, as you said in the last episode, it's a fun movie. Oh, this movie, by the way, would be a comedy.
What?
No.
Stop. Just stop. No, it would not.
Action, crime, drama, thriller.
Comedy.
Comedy.
It had that one funny line. Comedy.
At the very beginning.
I think one of the reviews is like, despite the laughs a minute.
This action thriller will have you rolling in your seats.
Anyways, let me get into some fresh facts on you on this. Christopher McQuarrie's brother was a Navy SEAL and was a technical advisor for the gunfight scenes. Hence the realism of the coordinated movements, use of cover, and the room clearing tactics used by Parker and Longbow.
Right on.
Okay.
I wonder if because it was like real, that's why it looked not real.
No, I have.
I mean, it just seemed like very like staged and like.
So they said,
very,
and
like,
that may be why,
Yeah.
because they were. So one of the things the movie's known for is the gunfight scenes, because like every bullet is accounted for. So whenever they reload and they're doing all the reloading, like that's actually, if you saw a gunfight, how they have to reload and all the tactics of how they did all their things was like ultra real.
Yeah.
So the Way of the Gun was gun accurate?
Yes, but I mean it's not like Rambo, where it's like
accurate.
it's kind of like UFC, right? Everybody loves Bruce Lee movies, but then like the actuality of
It's just two guys hugging on the ground.
Yes. And so maybe,
So what you're saying is this movie did what the new John Wick movies are getting such hype over
Yeah.
that like they keep track of the bullets, and if he shoots enough, he reloads when he's supposed to reload.
Yeah.
Other
They
than the
did that
fact
in this movie.
it's like shot like how it's like. I mean, it would be like if you had people who really knew how to like use guns, get in a gunfight while you were actually in the room. That is what it would be like. That's like military type. Both people are trained. That's why it was always like. But that's anyways.
Okay, good. Moving.
It's good to know.
Yes,
I did not
That's
realize that.
interesting. Okay,
Some of my commentary later is going to be about these guys.
Yeah.
we're gonna discuss
Right,
these
no.
guys later.
So one of the things the movie does try to be is a Butch Cassidy Sundance
Yes.
Kid.
I could feel that's.
Okay.
I
Yes.
could
Okay,
feel,
I can
get
see
that
that.
feeling. Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
Because
rip-off.
Longbow and Parker are Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid's last names.
Right.
The brothel at the end is where the last scene in Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid was shot.
Oh, okay.
Oh, right on.
Right on.
The violence was scaled back for a non-NC-17 rating.
Huh.
So what did they cut?
I mean, my God, how much more bloody was it?
What? Okay.
In the DVD commentary, it's confirmed that in the alternate ending, Parker and Lombard die in the movie because of their gunshot. Very ambiguous at the end.
I was like, didn't they die?
No, they're just laying there together.
And the guy walks off.
I just assumed. Okay.
James Caan portrayed Juliette Lewis's father in the movie. The old man was her actual father.
The old man.
Oh, what?
The one whose baby she was carrying is her actual father?
That's no.
What?
The other old man with the
Wait. There was a lot of other old men.
Wait, what the what?
Abner, the guy who was doing the Russian roulette.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That,
Okay.
Like her in real life,
Oh,
that's
the
her
Russian-
dad.
Russian
You know why
roulette
that
guy?
actor is her father, because that actor, I love him in
He,
the Clint Eastwood.
Any which way but loose. Man.
Jeffrey Lewis.
Yeah.
So let me get this. Just the
Right
guy
turn,
who-
Clyde.
The Jeffrey Lewis, the old man who with the
Yeah.
gun, with
Abner
the,
Mercer.
Russian roulette.
Absolutely.
yes,
Okay.
is Juliette Lewis's father.
Thank you.
My
Okay.
favorite.
Real biological
He's my-
father.
Correct.
Okay.
No, we have to talk about Jeff. We have to talk about
really
this guy. He's not in it that much, but every
But-
second he's
Is
in it
golden.
is
It is
amazing.
gold.
Yes.
Yes, he does. I love him.
Oh, the reviews. Well,
And
And-
that's it. And cut.
so the reviews, which I did pull the reviews. It's The Way of the Gun is doomy trash, a blood-soaked saga of remorseless killers and natural-born blatherers.
What is doomy trash?
Like Doom?
Oh, I thought you'd be like doomy.
No,
Trash.
no, like
What is doomy
D-O-O-M,
trash?
not D-O-M-E.
The looks we all just exchanged for the listeners.
What's
If y'all could be here, I wish we had this on. We'll figure out some
And
way.
so he says, I'm sure I've seen worse movies, but nothing so steadfastly unpleasant comes to mind.
That's a good one.
A grisly mix of carnage, torture, backroom surgery, and a painful dialogue.
I will agree
Yeah,
with definitely with
yeah,
the painful
mhm,
dialogue.
Yeah.
When I chose this movie, we...
Oh, that's right. This was your choice.
Mhm.
Thanks
Tell
for
us
inflicting
more.
this one
How
on us.
many... Wait, hold on. How many of y'all had seen this before going in?
Nope.
I had seen it so long ago.
Interesting fact, I said I had never seen it. And then I got through it and I was like, yeah.
I'd seen this.
Yeah.
But your brain was so against it, it said, no, we're going to remove this from your memory.
No, I was like having deja vu through it, and then I got to the end when they get to the brothel and they have the big shootout. I was like, oh yeah, I remember. And then I was like, I remember the same thing last time. Where did all these other old men in jackets?
Oh, you mean the geriatric hit squad?
Right?
Yeah, they're all dressed the same.
They rolled in from the golf course up the street.
Well, then these guys were these guys all like
Bag-
killers? Like,
I think they're all
like,
supposed to be bag men. They're all dressed like James.
Yeah.
well,
They're all...
They're army of bagmen.
geriatric assassins.
So real quick, so about that, he's like, they're all survivors apparently. But when he goes to call Abner, Abner is like the bottom of his list. Did you see that? Like
Yeah.
he was like, he had all these names marked out.
I didn't catch that either.
He had all the names marked out, and Abner was at the bottom of his list. But, so where did everybody else come from?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Should we just start from the beginning? I know y'all.
Why did you pick this film? Just tell us that.
I mean, seriously,
So here it
of all
is.
the movies, you picked.
all the land.
Why
So
did you
I had 2 movies I was going to do, and one, I probably anybody see things to do in Denver when you're dead.
No.
No.
Long time ago.
So it would probably get the same reaction. So these were movies that the critics loved, and I even thought critics hated that the audience loved. I had made the comment, can we choose movies that we agree with the critics? But I always remember this movie. I've always enjoyed watching it.
So you enjoy it, but
Really?
you by no means would call it a good film.
Oh, it has huge problems throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, like the movie.
Like that it's a movie.
It was made.
I enjoyed all the almost convoluted plots of like all the motivations. And it's a movie that I kind of enjoy movies without heroes. And this was a movie definitely where there's like no
heroes.
good.
No
There's not
good
even an
guys.
anti-hero.
No.
Comment about that, because by the end of the film, when they're laying there and James Caan and her are getting in the,
I
feel like I watched a movie where the main characters weren't the main characters. Like the main characters to me at the end are James
Caan and Juliette Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like James Caan carries a lot of weight in this film.
I would call Ryan Phillippe and Benicio del Toro anti-heroes only because they had at some point they do have a change of character as it relates to Juliette Lewis's character.
So it's one of two things. No. So one of the things the movie does with them is at the beginning, it's Ryan Phillippe who's actually like on Juliette Lewis's side. But I think once she tries to shoot him, it flips where at the end, Ryan Phillippe is the one who's like, keep going. But Benicio del Toro is like, nah, man, she's had enough. It would have been the reverse earlier in the movie, but they like switched that whole role.
Well, Ryan Phillippe's ready to leave and just let her go do whatever she's going to do. They're going to get in the car, and Benicio del Toro tricks him, and he goes to the door and he gets shot at, and then his whole attitude changes again, and they're back to being.
Well, because it was like he saw him, I guess, not partnering her up, but like bonding.
Yeah, over the
and
car
he was getting pissed off about it, and that's why he almost let him get shot because he didn't want to leave.
Right.
And so he was like, well, go get my jacket. And then she shoots through the door and he looks, he sees the jacket sitting on the window like, oh, you were trying to get me killed because he thought he was getting too close to her. But so after that, I guess Ryan Phillippe changed in the movie and was just like, okay, man, I'm going to like stay away. I'm going to be very professional about the whole thing. But then it was Benicio del Toro. I don't know if it wasn't, he didn't bond with her at all, but he may have been like the only person really who had like the change of heart at the end of the movie he became like almost, what would you call an anti-hero because he was now trying to save her basically. But
what are they trying to save her from necessarily? I mean, by the time you get to the end,
because so the whole thing was
crazy and weird that you don't.
Well, so the whole thing they were trying to get the baby, right? Because they had to have the baby.
Yeah. For the money. Yeah.
For the money.
Because the baby's what?
The baby's correct.
Yeah, Juliette Lewis has no value. The baby does.
She only has value to James.
Well, right. Well, but out of all the people, he gives her the least amount of value. James Caan.
Gives Juliette Lewis the least amount of value.
Correct, because his whole thing was like, you can't do this. You can't even pay for her. They're just going to kill her and just, you've lost. Like, there's nothing either you go in there and you let them all get killed, like everybody get killed, because then if he had just said pay him, they would have gotten Juliette Lewis back. And so that was what he should have been. But the whole movie, he's like, you can't pay these guys. You can't pay these guys. You can't pay these guys. Well, he knew if he doesn't pay, they're going to kill her.
No, I think he was thinking if you. I felt like
they'll take the baby and kill her.
Yeah,
they'll take the baby and kill her. Because at the end of the day, they don't need her. They just need the baby, and the baby's all ready to be born. So they take the baby, they kill her, they get the money. The best way he can keep her safe is to keep the baby inside her.
Yeah. So James Caan was trying to.
I agree.
Yeah.
If they had paid the $15 million a day, like the next day, like when they asked and just gave him the money, they could have gotten Juliette Lewis and the baby back. They were just giving them back because they've already got the money.
No, because if they would have gotten the money back, then the crime family would have killed her. Is that what you're trying to? Is that the crime family that they're going to give the baby to is going to get rid of Juliette Lewis so they don't have to pay her?
Oh, that was the case. I didn't think that at all.
Yeah, because that's what Taye Diggs and the white girl was saying.
The mom.
That was what Taye Diggs and the white girl wanted.
Yes,
the dad who was the main guy, like the money guy. He would have paid her.
He wanted the baby.
He would have paid the $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was a problem for him. It was they were probably going to kill all of them.
Let's start with the
Well, let's start at the beginning.
Let's start at the beginning. Okay, that's fine.
Just kind of like
this
the
movie
plot.
is so fucking convoluted.
It really
did
was.
get convoluted.
It was ridiculous.
We'll start with like the whole, because this is from what I understand, what their whole. Well, I don't know if y'all want to start from the beginning.
I want to start at the very beginning, please.
Okay. Yeah,
because I want to talk about
his favorite scene.
Shut that cunt's mouth, or I'll come over there and fuck Star in her face.
Sarah Silverman getting punched in the face. Another female.
So little thing.
I'm surprised that this is not more popular with people.
Oh yeah,
just because Sarah Silverman gets punched in the face.
So Ryan Phillippe actually did punch her in the face on accident. What? And she woke up because he knocked her out.
No.
With him standing over her crying, like because he felt so bad about it.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, he really punched her in the face. So you not only got you to see, just so you didn't get to see a fake wish. You got to see your wish.
I just thought, what great cat, because she is so loud.
Yes, obnoxious.
Like, oh man. And then when he punches her, cheer.
And the boyfriend's like, she got a big mouth.
that dude looked familiar. Was that
he looked like if Seth who's the guy who does
the red hair?
Yes.
Seth, the guy that looks like the doctor in this movie that you were talking about.
Yes.
From Dead Poet Society.
Are you talking about?
No, the guy who does the claymation figures.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Seth Red Hair. You mentioned him while we were watching it.
Oh yeah, no, the doctor.
And Austin Powers.
Yes, Seth Green.
Seth Green.
He's a bunch of Seth Green.
The redheaded guy is like Seth Green took a bunch of steroids.
But you're talking about the boyfriend.
Yeah.
But you were talking about the doctor.
The doctor.
Yes.
I was talking about the doctor there,
Right.
but that redhead dude was in Sleepers. He was like one of the older guys in Sleepers.
Oh.
Wait.
So wait, that's
the
Brad
boyfriend
Pitt?
or the doctor?
Brad Pitt.
That's another comedy.
Okay. I'm getting lost. I'm already. All right. Ring it.
Okay.
Come on, boys.
Back to Way of the Gun.
I just want to go back. I made a joke a minute ago. And that's kind of how I feel about the movie, is that they are moving through a movie with plot lines going around them that they're not even part of.
Yes.
I totally agree with that.
Hell yeah.
At the end of it, and they're laying there dead,
Well-
and I realized I just watched a movie where they're not even real necessarily the main character.
Well, to give it a comparison contrast of the Boondock Saints, it's very similar in the fact that they just kind of fell into what was going on. Like they were at the sperm bank and they just overheard the guy talking about it, and then they kidnap him. They're like, "Don't you know who you kidnapped?" And they're like, "No." And it's like this whole other subplot's going on, and it's like they walked in and like hit her Hamlet and was like, "Sorry, man," and which is kind of what happens in Rosencrantz. And so now, like, it's like they're just part of like they have their storyline, which you see, and it's like another storyline's going on, and it like hops into that storyline.
It's narrated like I'm going to get some kind of morality or some kind of benefit from hearing the story. I'm going to learn something by the end of it, but
I did not know.
I don't feel like a better person.
So
No.
who are these guys? Are they going around robbing people, living in their
just
car?
they're just
okay,
some
they're just two
they
guys.
just-
nefarious banditos.
Yeah, they've decided, but they're small time, right? Like
Yeah.
they've decided they don't want to
small-time
work a
crooks.
9 to 5. They just want to survive, and if you keep your needs minimal, you can just go to sperm banks and donate, and you can live off that money for a while. So they're like small time crooks and small time little grifter type people.
The plot summary calls them two criminal drifters without sympathy.
But they're like small time, and then all of a sudden they jump into kidnapping.
Because
they both-
zero background on them.
No, because he talks to James Caan, Benicio del Toro, and James Caan's telling him what he does. He's like, "Oh, I used to do that," as in he like used to do what James Caan did.
They both sounded one. So in Ryan Phillippe's opening narrative, Like Angie said, they describe themselves as two guys that don't want minimum wage jobs. So they decide that they're just going to be drifters and they're just going to be small-time crooks. But then you find out later in the film from both Ryan Phillippe and the lines from Benicio del Toro that they're actually more crooks than like they've actually done
Bigger crime.
crimes. I feel like they've actually killed people before.
I know.
this
I was
movie
wondering
started.
that.
Okay,
I was wondering
Yeah.
if they
because I was
So
wondering how
they'd
they
be a bad
jumped.
father. Is what they couldn't donate. Have you asked?
Well, you asked all those questions at the start.
He was yelling at the sperm bank guy for no reason.
I think it was just showing you like how unhinged these guys are. These guys are like,
There was no reason for him to yell at that poor sperm.
well, because he asked him if
To
he
yell
was.
at that poor
Because he asked
sperm.
him if he was.
If he was a
He
homo,
probably
if
yelled
he
at
was
his
a
sperm.
Because he asked him
homosexual.
if he was heterosexual.
Heterosexual. That's right.
What's wrong with that?
That's another question. And then if you ask me, you know.
And I mean,
Well, because that's not what he was actually asking.
and Benicio del Toro even says there are no brains in this operation. Oh no, this isn't a brains type of job, or
Yeah.
So let's go to Juliette Lewis. We meet her,
Yeah, she's coming out of the doctor's office,
Mm-hmm.
and she's getting $1 million
which you find out later.
To
Yes,
carry this child.
to carry this child.
Mhm.
And
Take care of her father. I kind of get the idea.
well, they allude to that because he says it to. Yeah.
but when they kidnap, let's just jumping. Real
So we're just
quick.
gonna pretend like we've only seen up to now.
Okay, first of all, she was not playing the part of a 9-month pregnant lady very well. I was like taking offense to this. Like
She was
excess-
too-
What part?
the way she was waddling and like, and I'm like, you don't really.
I carry twins and I don't remember walking like that.
Right, that's what I mean. Like excessive.
Kevin, hey,
waddling.
Kevin, I'm curious. No, did she ever walk like that?
Wait, I waddled a little bit. She was
No.
No. Right answer.
But I mean, that's
It
like
was
the truth,
it was
not like
excessive.
Juliette Lewis.
No, it was
No,
excessive.
it was excessive.
I'm throwing a penalty flag for excessive waddling
Yeah.
on
And
Julia.
not
she was
even-
really trying to sell
She
the whole
wasn't. Even,
pregnancy.
yeah, she wasn't just waddling.
Well, you know-
she was like pain, like
like
she
it
was
was
in labor the
painful.
whole movie.
The whole movie,
I felt like
yes.
she was in labor the
Yeah.
whole movie.
Well,
Yes.
They
That-
didn't-
Well, that's what it
Is
said.
that
That's
what
what
you- is that
No,
what you-
I don't think she was in labor the whole movie.
It had to be
She
fleshed
acted
out
as if she was in
entirely.
labor the whole movie.
I just don't think she played it. I was like,
But you know the
Why are
problem. You know
you-
why? Because they spent
just
all-
because you're 9 months pregnant doesn't mean you can't walk down a hallway like a with
I mean,
with a normal
Exactly.
stride.
There's some waddle, but not
even-
that much waddle.
Even women who are giving birth, they're walking around while like during the
in
labor,
labor.
and they don't waddle like that.
So
Correct.
one of the fresh facts is they spent all their money on
Yes.
gunfight coordinators and not on pregnant walking coordinators.
You mean to tell me those Navy
Right?
SEAls didn't have any pregnant wives?
I know where their
experience?
budget went.
It's odd that it's James Bond that found the girl to have the baby, which ends up being
His daughter?
Yeah,
that was
That's
a
kind
weird.
of creepy.
was,
Well,
Everything about that was
he
creepy.
says, "Well, I never saved up, but my daughter, she's working something out." And I
Yeah.
think he was like, "Hey, you do this. We'll split some of the money, and then we'll both kind of set." And so she, of course,
She says
wants to take care of her dad. So she's like, "Okay, I guess I'll do it."
she wants to keep the baby, and now she's not taking.
Well, because it's hers.
Well, it's 'cause it's-
the problem
it's
is it's
her
hers.
baby.
So it is hers.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it is her child
Yeah.
with the doctor.
yes.
Yes, because she says to
she says that. Yeah,
because when they got
Well,
the gun,
I know she was saying it, but I didn't know if she was saying it to throw a wrench in it to make them doubt.
Oh, yeah. I pretty much
No,
I took it as
'cause
like
even-
she was telling.
'cause
me
my-
Yeah,
the
I thought she was
truth.
just trying to put doubt in their mind.
Oh, I didn't think
they were,
I mean-
but
no,
then
I didn't.
But when he's talking to James Caan, at the little hotel, James Caan's talking about his daughter, and he puts out his wallet and shows him a picture of his daughter. He throws his wallet out, and he's like, and then he realizes, oh, that's my daughter. He's like, are you sure you can't come back with me? And shows him that, hey, that's my daughter in there. And he's like, I wish I could. She had told him right then, that's my daughter in there. So then it becomes, it's not just that it's her kid, but for him, and they knew that it was his daughter. And then they just kind of figured out,
or at least
between
Benicio del Toro did. Yeah.
Well, and then the doctor, I think, admits it. That it's
I didn't
mine.
think he ever did. I thought she kept asking him to, and he's just like, "What do you think?"
I think. Well,
That's just it. That's one of the things about this movie. There's a lot of things that are left very vague,
yeah.
especially at the end of the movie. So I don't. Maybe in the commentary, if you get the DVD, it clarifies things. But at the end of the movie, You think they're dead? I think Brian Felipe
I
is definitely
assume
dead.
that they died
but I
there.
assume, yes, and that's just it. You assume they die. But Benicio del
Yeah,
Toro.
exactly. I didn't. I was
But
just
Benicio del
happy the
Toro
movie's
isn't.
over.
And
They were laying
then,
there and he was still narrating in the movie.
yeah, and then, and then, and so they die. I assumed
We
they
think.
died. I assumed they died.
Okay.
And
We
then
Who knows?
they roll Juliette Lewis out with the baby,
Mm-hmm.
and you assume she gets to keep it.
Oh yeah.
we
Does
think.
it
You-
make a difference to you whether
But
they die?
wait, no, I don't. I
Well,
really
what-
don't. I
what
really don't. But I just.
old
Oh, it's a
Mr.
2 hour long movie. It's not even 90 minutes. I just watched 2 hours worth of movie.
Give me an
Give me
ending.
something.
She said that she thought when she's like, I'm pregnant, she had the baby in her arms.
Well, that was my question. Like at the very end, they only show the silhouette of the blonde wife, and I don't know if she has her arms crossed or if she's holding a baby because her motions kind of seem like she's rocking a
Maybe
child.
She's holding her stomach because she's pregnant.
Yeah, and so I don't know.
No, she does. Doesn't she go over and tell him that
She
she's
turns
pregnant?
around. She turns around, but it's a silhouette.
But it's a
and she's
silhouette.
Like, I'm
It's a
pregnant.
shadow.
And it's like, I'm pregnant. In the
And
movie.
that's
the
it.
scene,
Yeah.
but you don't ever see the light
They just
shine
leave it
on
in-
her.
They do what you love. They left it ambiguous.
They left it ambiguous.
In true Christopher Nolan fashion, they let you decide.
But it's not a Christopher Nolan
There's something
movie.
about, there's a line about
And-
karma in the movie, and karma taking a long time. Or karma
No,
is-
He said, "Do you believe in karma?" And he's like,
karma is
"I don't believe in karma because it's
justice.
revengeless justice.
It's justice.
Justice without the revenge."
Without the revenge.
And I don't believe in. And he said, "And I don't believe in
I
justice."
must have been getting some wine during that part.
Yeah, and so then at the
But-
end, that fact that she's pregnant, I think the karma is that it's
You don't know.
It's Tay Diggs'
bodyguard.
baby?
Yeah.
Oh,
not-
okay.
not the
And
white
we
lady.
just jumped way
Oh,
ahead.
he died. Okay.
Can we go back to these are supposed to be professional bodyguards, right?
They're awesome.
Their
As-
job-
during the first scene
No,
they're introduced, they're awesome.
no, their job is to guard her body
Yep.
because she is carrying this rich man's child.
And they did up until
No.
that point.
no.
I don't.
When
I,
when they are in the when they're in the doctor's office and they get attacked by Benicio del Toro and Brian Felipe, they abandon her. They put her in the elevator and tell her go up to
Yeah,
the
no.
ceiling, go up
Tay
to the
Diggs
roof.
should have never
you know,
left.
and he-
That's
no,
true.
Tay Diggs
But he says that. He says, I
Tay
left her
Diggs
alone.
should
Second
have
I left her alone.
Never left her
Well, that's
alone.
his. That's
That
what
is-
she's saying.
that is my
Right.
that is my gripe. You are a bodyguard. It is your job to
But they were
guard
getting
this
shot
body.
But you can't leave the building because then you're really not really guarding her body, which obviously
Regardless
came
of-
true.
No, regardless of what's going on to your friends, regardless of what's going on with your body,
You have to be the guy at the door with the
Your
gun.
job is to get her safely somewhere. And the minute you set her away without you being next to her, you're no longer doing your
I
job,
didn't-
and that bugged me.
I
But
didn't.
but there's more about that scene that bugs me. Though.
There's about
Well,
me
everything
too.
about that
Well,
scene.
yeah, that me too.
But like, you're talking about them taking all this realism and all the gunfights are right. But if you're a bodyguard, it is your job to guard that body.
Yeah, they didn't bring bodyguard experts.
Experts.
So, before we move on, okay, we got the $1 million for Juliette Lewis, but they were wanting $15 million, right?
15.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
Is that right?
That's what they asked for. They
Okay.
wanted 15.
To get the
No, because he's like 15 million, and he's like, okay.
so $1 million was going to
I
Juliette
needed-
Lewis, and
And they did the whole horrible phone routine.
God damn it! You know how long that's gonna take.
And you know what? What I heard was that they
thought that was
submitted
funny.
that for his Oscar scene.
That was classic negotiations, man.
okay.
I mean, he was just acting for the.
But I mean, it
Yeah.
was like, would you believe that?
So-
That's a little over the top, dude.
It's a strange.
So there's like chewing scenery, like Willem Dafoe in the last movie, and then there's a bad chewing the scenery, which was
Right.
that.
I thought that was. Are you talking about the Tay Diggs when he was like, "God damn it"? That I thought it was funny. I mean, I was.
I thought he
looking
was-
for
I
anything
mean-
to-
It was funny.
It was funny.
Okay, so just real quick before we leave Juliette Lewis in the beginning of the movie, where she leaves the. Okay, are you talking about Andy? Maybe you were frustrated with this part too, where she leaves the elevator. She finds out she's alone.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
that the bodyguards didn't do her. Right, she's trying to-
decided to save the baby.
Yes.
And go escape.
It was a poignant moment when you saw her arm come out and stop the elevator door from closing. But why
to
would
go
she?
back.
But why would she go towards the gunfire?
gunfight.
Why didn't she go
went to the
left?
doctor's
'Cause she's a
office and the
moron?
doctor's office was locked. She
Really?
goes back to the doctor's office and it says out to lunch.
Yeah, back in 5 or something like that.
Go back to the elevator.
She
Go to the
could've
second
sat-
floor.
right. She
Go to
could've
the
gone
second
some-
floor
she
and
goes
go sit somewhere where they're
straight
not
to
going to
danger.
look for you.
Well, no. I think what her problem
Right?
was, if she had stayed in that building, Tate Diggs would have come back for her.
I know, but she could have hid somewhere. Like, why did she go
He
straight
sent her to the roof.
gunfire?
She could have gone anywhere else in that building.
I think so too.
Well, no, that's the problem is he knows she's in the building. He's right when he's like, the first moment I left her, she ran.
Right.
Because that's what they're saying.
But
like,
she ran towards the gunfire. He was.
I
Right
think
there.
that was the only exit is what they're trying to tell you.
Well, which
I
is
thought that
which is
was-
dumb because that's a fire hazard and that would never happen.
Turned around and ran for the front door. And the front door scene, that scene is where
She waddled.
The reality of the film starts to fall apart for me because the two bodyguards chase Ryan Phillippe and Benicio del Toro out that door, that very door.
Yes.
So those two are out in front of them. The guards are there, and the next person to walk through the door is Ryan Phillippe. And I'm like, how did we all get turned around so that they got out in the yard, and now they're coming back in the building? What's he coming back in the building?
Yeah.
Like it made no sense.
So how I pictured it when they left, because they walk out, and so then the other guys of the team, the other 4 guys or whatever it was, come out. So they're still at the door, and they're shooting at them. And who knows how they went? Maybe they went to the right, and then when these guys come out, they've already killed the other 4 guys, so they're fighting them. But the other guy was already out there, so maybe he was out, and so Tay Diggs went and tried to get him, and they pushed him back into the building. I don't know.
But
I mean, they don't show you the guy. It's kind of like
to get out and get on the other side of them and then hurt them back in a bit. Like
so it's very much like complaining about like the gunfight in Reservoir Dogs, the bank robbery in the Reservoir Dogs. It's like, well, we never really saw it, so I can't tell you how it actually went down. So I can't tell you how they got turned around. I don't know.
To me, it's jarring. It took me out of
It's confusing.
Yeah.
I was like, how did that like that? Didn't make any sense. But then that whole scene, the whole chase scene is kind of problematic for me with the
If-
getting out of the car.
what's his name?
And the slowing down. And I just don't buy that.
If the director was going for like confusing the audience and like trying to get you confused in the mind of what would happen when you're in a whatever that situation was, then I think that was then mission accomplished, because I was confused with that whole scene, like the action within that scene, how that happened, her going out, him coming in, all the things that y'all just talked about. I don't know if, I mean, maybe that's what Christopher McQuarrie's vision was, that he wanted the audience to be confused, but
Because
it didn't
gunfights are confusing.
it didn't play to me.
It started off really strong. The bodyguard's coming off so cold and heartless and
Yeah.
and winning. Actually, they win standing in the building that they're not gonna balk. They're protecting her. She's not going with you, and that's the end of the story.
Yeah.
And the two of them escape out the front door. Angie's right at this point. They've already won. They don't need to go outside and fight anymore. They have what they have.
Yeah.
They let them do whatever gunfight they want, but they've already chased the perpetrators off. In fact, they try to warn their friends not to even shoot, just let them run away.
Well, that's what
Yes.
I think. That's
That's what
what
it was.
started the problem.
So
was
then they have a
they like,
gunfight out there.
well, they go out. He says, "Don't do it," but right when he says it, they start shooting at each other
that's
because
right.
they had already engaged. Maybe they were worried that they were now going to force him back inside. So the other guy goes outside, and then Tate Diggs goes outside, and they're already being forced back inside.
But if you're going out the front door to protect that front door and prevent them from coming back,
You wouldn't go out the front door. If you were going to protect the front door, you wouldn't go out the front door.
Well,
I hope the Navy SEAL that was consulting on this mentioned all this to Christopher McQuarrie.
What I understand is how Phillippe comes back in the front door at the exact.
It's kind of like this, and I'll put it this: think of any front door of a office building you've ever seen. When you walk outside of a front door, what is your cover? Like if someone's shooting, what is your cover when you walk
There
out of a
isn't
front?
any.
So obviously you wouldn't stay at the front door. So you have to go
They
somewhere.
have those two cars that are parked right there at the front door. They're parked there, and the doors are open, and there's dead bodies laying there. In fact, that's the car that the two guys.
It would be like this: there's someone in front of them. They go out. They have to pick a side. Ryan Phillippe, they have to pick a side. You can't just go straight because there's cars, people shooting at
They're in a
you.
big-
You pick a side.
Yeah.
When Tate Diggs and the other guy come out, what do they have to do?
Pick a side.
They have to go to the other side. And so if they're being pushed back and they start spinning in a circle, they can come back in the door. We're arguing over a gunfight that they don't even show. Like, that's my problem. It's kind of weird for me because it's like there's a gunfight and you're confused over something you never saw based on your own assumptions. I just accepted it when he came back through the door that he must have had to run back in. Like that's all he could do.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
It doesn't,
Well,
it doesn't play for
on.
me.
But
That
this
whole
whole
thing
this whole
doesn't-
scene was.
I was just confused.
But
by
was badly.
Juliette
I
Lewis.
didn't like it. I didn't. What the whole scene was dumb.
I mean, think about it this way. Here are your facts. They escaped the building. They're trying to escape, and they killed the 4 guys that were preventing their escape. Why aren't they gone?
This might shed some light on the whole idea. Maybe the reason we have aggrandized gun battles and the reason people fly back when they get hit in the chest with when they're shot in the chest instead of just like crumpling on the ground like you normally would, because when you have a tactical expert come in and design your gun battle the way it probably would really look, it looks boring and it looks confusing and it doesn't play to the camera, because a camera can only shoot one angle at a time, whereas a human being can move around and look and see different viewpoints at a time and make it more exciting.
And to get back to the John Wick, in a John Wick movie, John Wick would have just killed off one and went straight. But like that's not how it really, like, you just don't like move in a straight line, then you're out the door and you escape like John Wick always does.
Well, and that's what I'm saying is you have to have these what am I trying to say? If you have the actual Navy SEAL tactician would do in a kidnapping situation in a single exit hallway with this, that, and the other,
It would be boring.
it's going to be fucking boring. Like
Yeah.
what we saw in Way of the Gun. Because you got a camera here and you're not going to see what's going to happen outside. It's going to be confusing.
because it's not point of view.
Exactly. It's going to be confusing. My question is, why put that in the fucking movie?
Yeah. Well, okay.
Move the camera outside. Show me the gunfight outside.
They spent
more than
like
one camera,
15 minutes
use
on a
it.
gunfight at the end. It's like you couldn't like.
Oh, yeah.
3 minutes to
I think
this.
basically Ryan Phillippe comes back in the building to get Juliette Lewis because it's necessary to the plot.
Yes.
You're absolutely right.
Exactly.
You're right.
I
And
agree.
I think that's the only logic you have.
Well, that's
for
why
that.
Juliette
Yes.
Lewis went
Oh,
towards
no,
the
I agree.
gunfire because of the plot. That's what makes me mad. I was already mad at the beginning of the movie
And-
because they were doing things that I don't think.
And when you
normally
and then when you do
the
have this,
gunfight was secondary.
It goes against your like instincts of survival. You don't run towards gunfire.
Right.
You run against it. You're
Fight
carrying
or
a
flight.
child. You're carrying a child.
Exactly.
That's doubled.
Yes.
So why are you running
So, that
towards
was
the
my-
gunfight?
That was my big question on that.
Even if that's your only way to get out of the building, that is the imminent threat. Are those guns going
if
off?
there had been, if
Tay,
there,
this
Well,
is a threat.
you know why?
Those
You know why she did
bullets
it?
are imminent.
She was so spry. Moving around. She was gonna do some rolls when she got out there.
It's just gonna tuck and roll.
She's like barely able to walk. She's like,
commando roll,
I'm gonna dodge some bullets.
right? Fucking
I'm-
Matrix.
Robin, you move like they do.
Bullet move.
Her stomach's like, woo.
Dip, dive,
Fucking T1000s and shit.
babies in the womb.
If they would
dodging
if they would have
bullets.
mentioned if there would have been some mention of her wanting to get away and wanting to do that earlier, where she was like, I will do anything to get away from these people because this is my baby, blah 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 blah. It's not their baby. I'm harboring the secret.
you know what?
I could see if I go with Ryan Phillippe and Benicio del
It'll
Toro,
get
at
me
least
away
I'm
from
getting
them.
away from these people.
Yes.
But that wasn't a thing.
Because
Up
she,
until that point, she was just fine with
Yeah.
the Chappaquiddics or whatever the fucking people's name was.
So what the movie did with the director or writer is they are slow rolling information to keep you in your seat as you slowly learn and find out more about the full story and what's going on.
Chittock.
And they're not giving you the full
That's
story
right.
and what's going on early on because they're trying to create that sense of mystery or thriller or that idea that I
Well,
gotta
they
keep
failed.
watching to figure this out. I'm not being told something, I don't know something, and to me, at the end of the day, it didn't work. I mean, there was.
I
No.
think.
Okay, no, I think you're right.
Besides the
I can see
scene,
that.
Well, I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
he tried to repeat his Usual Suspects because it was a movie he did right after Usual Suspects, and it seems like he was like, man, I kept him on the edge of the seat and blah blah blah. So I have to. It's like he had to M. Night Shyamalan himself.
Even in
This is my thing.
And he did. He did M. Night Shyamalan himself.
You guys can't understand why she walks through the door, and I can't understand how Ryan Phillippe comes back in. It's necessary to the plot. Like this scene and further scenes through the film, I feel like there's stuff missing. Like I wish I had seen maybe what happened outside, or understand why all this army of old men show up at the end.
Seriously.
Throughout the film, there's stuff missing.
And well, I think it's weird because I think that it's like they almost purposely leave it like that, where like it's just like you're in a movie where it's another storyline going on that you're not seeing, like James Caan. Like it's like James Caan comes into the story, leaves the story because he just leaves for a while, and then he comes and then he comes back into the story. Right? It's like so you're like just keep like he keeps going into the story, coming back out of the story, and then all of a sudden he's by the time his story becomes the main story. It's becoming like the last movie.
No, and like at the end, like the rich guy and his wife are like
Happy that they're gonna have a baby.
Well, they're like none. Well,
He's gonna find out soon.
Can I say that
You're gonna have a rude awakening.
that scene where she's eating shrimp and then she kisses Taye Diggs really grossed me out.
Well, she was also talking about how
I better throw away that shrimp trident I got.
That's disgusting.
She is weird.
She is really weird. What is wrong with her?
Okay, so then we meet these people. We meet this couple, old man, young woman. Okay.
The Chappaquiddick's.
Yeah, the Chappaquiddick. Ted Kennedy had something to do with this, right?
I think he was a producer, silent producer.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway.
So we don't like her. We don't like the wife.
She's just like mean. The stepmom,
She's
and like
mean.
she's
mean.
the
She says, "I don't. If you have to kill," she basically says, right? If the mother doesn't make it,
the baby's what's important. If the mother, God forbid,
and then if
the mother doesn't make it, fuck her, we'll fix it.
Well, first it was she didn't care about either of them.
Right.
Right. Remember, she walks off, and then he's like, she'll warm up, I promise. Which is why it's very confusing what Juliette Lewis does. Because Juliette Lewis is like the nicest person in the world. You think she's doing this because she's trying to be nice, and he's like, oh, she'll come around, don't worry. Like, but then the next scene, like literally 5 minutes later, she's like, gunfire, man, I gotta get the hell out of here. These people are crazy. And you're like, there was no like, they didn't tell you that she felt that way. She just did it. And so you're like, why is she doing that?
I think you're supposed to.
You said it best when you said it's like he's trying to usual suspect us.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to give us little bits of mystery.
Yeah.
I think Juliette Lewis was supposed to let us in on it by her facial expressions, I guess.
Because she like did that awkward, like he was hugging her, but it was like, I just thought it was because she thought it was awkward.
Yeah.
She's trying to escape and get away from these people.
But they don't like Kevin says, they don't like her walking off being like, away from these people, or like doing some like note to somebody. I got
For me, I knew exactly why she was trying to escape.
She changed her mind. She wants to keep the baby.
It was just obvious.
Well, but here's the thing. At that moment, we don't know that that's her baby.
Right.
We don't know that's her baby at that moment. At that moment, it's a child she's carrying, and basically she's kidnapping somebody else's child.
Yeah.
Wait,
hold on. You need to do like a hotkey. Mansplaining by hand.
Look at here, little lady. What's happening with that womb?
Just gonna say. Anytime I see a pregnant woman.
Yes.
Oh God, where's this going?
Even if she's a surrogate mother, I'm going to assume she has some sort of love for the baby growing inside her.
Okay. Yes, but no, I agree that
there are people that are more heartless than that. But I just
not heartless.
It's sort of a maternal instinct.
It's not heartless.
I understand developing an attachment to a being that you are growing inside of you.
Plenty of people
but at that moment, you don't know that that's her baby.
Yeah.
And you're not led to believe that she's changed her mind anywhere. She's not just like, she doesn't, when she's talking to the doctor, she's not like, I'm having second thoughts. Or
do anything to help me out. Because she's the one person she could do it to.
And
because he's the one person that would. That's the father.
We don't know that.
We also learned all his mystery about being an abortion doctor or something in some other.
Yeah, I didn't get the
that
whole
was
Baltimore
real
thing.
unclear.
Explain to me
Something
what the hell
happened.
happened.
Also, I have a question. When the rich old guy's talking to him, he tells him he loves him.
His son.
It's his son?
Yeah.
So he has a kid.
But they're like estranged or something.
Well, because remember he says like,
but mom
would hate that bitch, and he slaps him in the face.
Oh yeah.
And
No,
so
that's
it's
his
a
son.
stepmom.
That's his son.
Right, but his wife is his stepmom.
But they're making
Right.
it seem like this is his one chance at a child, but he has children. So
Well, I guess it might have been like,
Wait, what happened?
I need to
in Baltimore?
redo.
Well, someone,
Right? Do over.
No. I'm serious though. What happened? What was the? I didn't hear the scandal of Baltimore.
They didn't say.
they didn't say. They left.
It's
They didn't
but
say.
no,
They just
Yeah.
So
alluded
something so bad
to-
happened, he couldn't even do a surgery anymore because he's like, you don't want to do another C-section because of what happened in Baltimore. Because like he apparently
He lost his
he
nerve
gets
or something.
the yips. He's got a case of the yips
He's got the shanks.
because even when he has to.
He got the shanks in Baltimore, and now he
Exactly.
can't.
Now he can't do his abortion stuff.
Now he can't be an abortion doctor.
Because when he has to do the C-section,
It's
he goes
such
and
a sad
throws up.
story.
He's like, "Oh, I just got out of the bathroom. I threw up," and it's because he couldn't. He like was so terrified of doing the C-section because of whatever happened in Baltimore,
Which is
they
another
never-
problem.
It may
I
have been like
have
some
with
huge
this movie. They
malpractice
entire
lawsuit or something. I don't know.
They
C-section
mentioned
scene.
it like
Oh
5
my
times.
God.
Oh, that
Well,
was
yeah,
bad.
it had to be something so bad that his dad had to get him out of it because he was on the hook for it to his dad.
Yes, but
That's
just
why
tell
he-
us what it was.
I don't know
Makes me so
exactly.
They don't
I
tell
know.
you.
I know. I
Not
agree
you,
with
because you don't know,
but that's what I'm saying. It had to be something so egregious that
You just-
he was on the hook to his dad.
You just told me he got the shanks in the.
he got the shanks in the middle of
Well,
it.
because he couldn't perform surgeries anymore. He was like, whatever
That's a Jimmy
happened
arm.
was so bad he could not
Now-
actually go do that. It's like
Whatever
it's
he
like
has
when-
gave him PTSD
Yeah.
and surgery.
yeah, it's like
he gets the
it's kind of like if
shits.
someone gets a car accident on the freeway and then they just don't ever want to drive on the freeway
Right.
again
No, I get-
because they
I-
can't
yes.
take it. That's probably what happened.
I just wish they would explain.
Like,
what it was.
tell me what happened.
You
Don't
wait,
like,
you
oh my
wait.
God, it was so bad. It was so
No.
terrible.
I'll take
What
it.
was it?
I'll accept it, but just tell me
Exactly.
what the fuck it was.
I think that they drop enough information on you to know that he's in
Yeah.
his father.
Yes, I got that. I did get.
You don't
that.
need to know. I mean,
There's a lot of stuff that for me I don't need it spelled out for me. I know that she's pregnant. I know that she's trying to escape. I don't need a scene of her saying, "I'm going to escape these."
because what they ended up
But they
having
over-explained everything.
Longbow and Lone Shadow,
Long.
they kind of just like go in, like they walk into a whole nother thing going on. Like they stumble into this whole other movie that's going on.
Right.
Yes.
That's what they did.
It was. It is
That
almost
is.
like there was
That's
two
exactly
different
right.
movies that intersected at this point, and they're like,
Like-
okay, we'll just hop
Like
right
there
on
may
this
have been
one.
a better movie about the kid and what happened in Baltimore
I'm
that we just
standing by my
missed.
running-
That was on the other movie. I know. I want to see that movie.
Okay, wait. And the doctor. I mean, the doctor.
That's the budget Seth
He's-
Green.
He's no. This guy was a wimp. Like the whole movie. He was
Everything.
like,
But you kind of he was like the foil of almost because like
everybody hated
Well,
him.
everyone else
everybody
was such a badass in the whole movie, and then you got this guy that they can all just push,
This
that they
guy.
can all push around.
Exactly.
Every
He
single
was
person like
just
threw him
that
up against the
guy.
wall at one point in
So-
I
time.
think even Juliette Lewis threw a movie. Because
Right.
she didn't
Nobody
pick
liked him.
She didn't pick him to be her dad, her baby daddy, because she was in love with him.
Because-
she
No,
couldn't
it
get
was a-
pregnant. She
right.
had,
Yeah.
had to
Right.
$1 million.
And it
No,
would
yeah.
and it would look
Yeah.
like the dad
The dad,
because
because
there
it's
was
their
a
the
son.
shared
DNA. Yep,
genes.
the DNA
Okay,
was there.
so did he inseminate her, or did he have
Oh,
sex
I-
with her?
I
They make
They-
it. They seem to spell it out.
I
He had sex
Had
with
sex
her.
with
Yeah.
her.
Had
Okay.
sex.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it's probably. You could probably argue either way, but I do feel.
Yeah.
The feeling is that they had.
They had
because
sex.
I think the
Turkey baster
They did it. They did the old fashioned way.
with the turkey.
They did the
baster.
when he
backwards
shows
cowboy.
up and he tries to slip her his pager.
Oh, is that what he slipped her?
No, it was a,
At that,
That-
scene, that's what he slipped her. Earlier,
Yeah, before the movie started.
No, it was-
before these two movies
Is that
intersected.
what we're calling it these days? The
It was his. It was his.
We're doing the backward cowboy at some point.
Yes, they were.
It was just two. It was just like his 2000.
I don't think that's-
reference starting here, folks.
the backwards cowboy.
It was just like 2000
Off mic.
Primeco cell phone. He tried to give her. It was a cell phone.
Yeehaw.
Okay, stuff like he tried
Prime Co.
And then he gives it back to him like, "What's the number to this?"
because we're going to use this contact.
Where were we? Can we talk about where the guy was playing Russian roulette and had to pick up the phone?
Oh my God, that was awesome! With 6 different guns.
He just had to pick up the
Is there a more old timey name than Abner?
He put ring, 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 ring. Guns in the bag. Ring, 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 ring. First gun out of the bag. Click. Ring, 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 ring. Second gun out of the bag.
He's always
Ring it.
annoyed that he's getting interrupted.
He's like, dude, I'm doing
Hello?
something. Yeah.
The first question is, you doing anything? Or do you...
No,
No.
I'm not doing anything. And he's still got the gun to his head. And he's got his hand.
Yeah, he's got his hand covering the other
to
side.
catch his brains.
Yeah.
Don't want to leave a mess for the cleaning lady.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
I want to see that movie.
Yeah.
Him and
Right?
James Caan.
No, I have a feeling that that movie, that
That's my
Abner's
favorite
movie,
scene.
is the Any Which Way But Loose. That's the what's happening currently in Any Which Way But Loose.
Is it when he's dying in the car and James Caan's trying to get out of the car and
Yes.
he says his name and he comes back?
Yes, that was a hilarious
He's like,
scene.
I'm dying. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. And he goes, well, I
Could I have some privacy?
he justifies it first. He says, I'm not trying to make you mad or something, but I just really want to be alone.
Right. But the funny thing was,
What, are they
James
making a-
Caan James Caan didn't want to be there either. He was looking at his watch. He was like,
He tried to get out of here.
Yeah.
Called back in.
Yeah, he said Joe.
He's trying to be the good guy.
Said Joe.
Yeah.
Joe.
And he goes, he looks at
Joe.
his watch and sits back down. And he goes, I just want you to know I'd like to be alone right now.
Well,
The amount of time he takes to say this.
well, yeah.
Right.
Were they?
Oh, no, it's my favorite scene in
That
the
was
movie.
that really is the best scene in the movie.
Yeah.
But he makes like a specific like I want to die alone, and then so does Benicio del Toro. We all die alone, or we're gonna die alone. So was that supposed to be a theme in the movie?
Oh, I don't know
And they
about
just got
that.
cut somewhere.
I don't
Well, I
know.
guess I think Doug told us in the original ending they died.
Yeah. There's an alternate where they actually
And,
die.
yeah.
Like they just kind of like writhing on the ground at the end of this.
Right. They're just laying there with both their legs shot.
I think I just assumed they died
Why
because
were they shooting the
parallels
legs?
to Butch Cassidy.
Well, but I mean, you're trying to kill them, right?
Give him a chance to like crawl somewhere.
Oh, and the scene where Ryan Felipe jumps into the fountain.
Oh, yeah.
And it's full of
Full of
broken
glass.
That was
glass.
cool. I got
That
I liked
was
that.
painful.
I
I felt it. It was horrible.
And then pulls it out.
Oh.
I like
That whole scene was probably more realistic to me
Yes,
than like
That
all the
was
realistic
crazy,
gunfights.
man.
It was
Exactly.
horrible.
So I did like the last gun battle. I thought that was fantastic. I thought that was done very well. The best part of the movie for me, other than Abner, was the last gun battle.
The geriatric
I mean,
hit squad coming out.
Well, because that happened.
They came out of nowhere. Though?
I mean, yes, I had questions
You're
about
looking at it
the
as-
September Army.
Right. But you're looking at it as the coordination of the gunfight. and
Exactly.
everything.
What I'm talking about is like the actual like, and I didn't put it together that it's like what actually every reload and every bullet is accounted for. I think when we were watching, I was like, man, how many fucking bullets do they have? How many clips do they have on them? You know?
What made the scene hard for me is they'd already showed Juliette Lewis and the amount of blood, and he's trying to do a C-section, and she's awake for it, and she's dead for that. It's so it was stressing me out that it makes it hard for me to watch the scene, knowing that I got Juliette. And then when I finally heard the baby cry, there's like a sense of relief for me because
Yeah.
I don't know what I am on.
That's-
That's what has me sitting through the whole scene.
Yeah.
As
And-
someone who's actually had a C-section, that whole scene was ridiculous
And I mean,
and not sterile.
who gives
Well,
an
they-
epidural that quickly?
Well, first of all,
What? Well, yeah.
I
I got a whole story about that. We'll
like,
save that
no,
for
my
another time.
epidural went without a
Oh,
hitch,
God. Mine was
but I had a team of people administer it because if you screw up the epidural, you just screwed up somebody's spine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just says, "I'm giving her a spinal." That was.
Yeah.
I'm giving her a spinal.
I'm gonna do it right now.
Yeah.
Here and this. Don't move.
I mean, I don't know.
After what happened in Baltimore,
Yeah.
Oh my
Right?
god.
I mean,
He's done well, guys.
The
I mean,
experience-
I'm just saying, that was the setup for
Like when
Baltimore.
I had my C-section.
You're watching this doctor going, oh my god, whatever happened in Baltimore, and he's gonna do it again.
Well, I guess we're just supposed to believe that
Well,
whole
we're-
thing because it's supposed to be a parallel with all the gunfire, and then there's a baby and the gunfire, and it's a big.
The whole
like-
thing was horrible. Her stomach looked like they legitimately took a Spalding ball and then proceeded to cut into it because it looked like rubber. And then he shoots the dude, and then instead of changing gloves, he takes some saline, and just kind of like kind of splashes his hands.
Well, that was when he was like going into shock. Because he shot the guy and he's like, shh. And then he's like, it's the baby. And he grabs him by the eyebrow because he's just like, because that's what he's doing. He's like, and he's just sitting there and he's like, Doc, how's the baby? How's the baby? And then he like freezes and looks at him. That was when he was like trying to clean his hands.
I had 2 children taken out of me at the same time, and it took less time than it took him to take out this one. She would have gone into shock. Like, she's cut open, like that whole scene.
That's like major surgery.
No, it's major surgery. It's major surgery happening in a bordello, right?
In a rundown bordello. Not even a functioning bordello.
It's a rundown border town bordello.
You know how I can explain that? The first baby was born in a cave.
Also, the jump to the bordello.
I'm just saying, the first baby was born in a cave. We can do a C-section and a
by C-section. No,
we can do a
it was
C-section
not.
and a brothel.
Now who's mansplaining? Now, jumping from just watching Boondock Saints with rough cuts. Cut to the bordello, like out of nowhere, Juliette Lewis is walking down the halls of the bordello.
Out of nowhere, she's walking. Yeah,
and she interrupts a hooker with her.
Yeah, they get there like super quick.
Oh my god! We're at a bordello now.
Yeah,
like there is no explanation.
Yes, exactly. I don't know how they got there.
I think that they
where
were
are they
like
at originally? What city are they in originally?
Someone that's really
Really close to the border, right? It's gotta be.
Are they in LA?
It's gotta be like Arizona, New Mexico, something like that.
And that was like where you would think somebody that wealthy would be living
Southern
in like one of the
somewhere.
big cities, but they're getting to Mexico with the quickness.
There's 12 hours to get the money there, but James Caan is going back and forth easily, like say within an hour. Like he's going to Mexico and seeing them and talking to them. And
right.
Coming back and talking to that.
He's back at the rich people's house. Yeah.
Unless he's got. Like,
I don't know where any of this movie, like as far as cities go.
Yeah,
they didn't say. They left it like ambiguous. Some Mexican town.
Some Mexican town
versus
versus some American
because
town.
they were practically driving.
Right.
They were right,
but
they don't show a plane or anything.
Okay, more ambiguity right there.
Yeah.
So where are we at with this film? How's everybody feeling with their flippers?
Oh, my flippers aren't even trying to lift.
Okay, can we talk real quick about just Ryan Felipe? And just like, wasn't he a little too pretty for this part? Benicio del Toro did a really like the grit. He had the grit. He had the machismo. I thought, and I think Ryan Felipe did a good job. Like I think he was because remember he was not Les Miserables, but he was a pretty boy, bad boy, pretty boy for a while. I see him taking this part to get away from that.
Mm-hmm.
What was that movie?
Cruel Intentions?
Yes.
Cruel Intentions.
So
yeah.
that kind of was his breakout and that stuck with him. He's a really cute guy. Really, they're both cute, handsome guys. But
I don't hold somebody's looks against them.
Huh?
I don't hold somebody's looks against them.
No, I don't mean I'm not holding it against. And no, I know that's great.
It's not his fault. He was born so good looking.
I found
just so you know how many jobs I get turned down because I'm so good
it's
looking.
It's a curse. You guys don't really understand.
I guess I don't know.
It's a curse.
I see what you're saying.
You're a good looking.
How that feels to be incredibly good looking. I don't know. I mean,
I'm more than just incredibly good looking. I just Zoolander. I see what you're saying. You didn't think he like.
It's very. I guess I'm being really like.
Yeah, you're being super superficial, Jess, and I'm super offended.
Oh.
No.
I think they tried to dirty him up.
I just didn't buy him.
I think they tried.
Because you tried so much to dirty him up, and he's just more cute.
He was still young enough. He was still cute enough.
Yeah.
You didn't buy it. I think later on, when he plays the sniper, does he play a sniper?
He's in that.
There's a show where he plays
shooter.
like a shooter.
Yeah.
And I think he might be a little older, and so he might be able to sell like the grittier version of himself.
I see
what you're saying, but I don't
He's
think
got a weird accent.
But I thought he did a good job.
He does have a weird,
his
very
looks didn't
northeast.
detract from my dislike of the movie.
It's like I don't know where he's from, but it's like a Pittsburgh, maybe like a Great Lakes-ish accent that's really prevalent in this movie.
I don't know.
He's from Newcastle, Delaware.
Oh,
We're in Delaware.
He just kind of sounded like Ryan Phillippe.
Yeah.
It just sounded.
He's got a very weird.
He has a weird voice. He has a weird like inflection to his voice.
Not lisp, but what did
We would think it was an accent.
Yeah.
Yeah, his inflection
yeah.
is very weird. Like,
Strange.
Well, and it's not.
Benicio was cast
It's there
perfectly.
in. It's
Yeah.
there
This
in.
is what he does.
Yeah,
the one with
yeah.
Jennifer Love.
Hewitt.
Yeah,
The remake of the.
I know what you did.
Oh, I know what you did last summer.
Yeah, his that accent isn't there as deep
He
as
did a
it
good
is.
job, and I love that. I love that movie, and I love him in that movie.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not that I'm not trying to pick on him for being too attractive.
What do you have against Ryan Phillippe?
He's
My
too
God.
attractive.
Oh, that's exact. That's literally what you were just saying.
Well,
If this movie was on TV, I would change the channel. I never want to see it again.
and there's an issue with the music. The score was
It's the Professionals. That
was-
like Castanet is the Professionals from like a Burt Lancaster movie.
Yes, I had said that.
So it seemed like he was trying to like do kind of like a
Yeah.
modern Western because like
Yeah.
everything's kind of out in the
yes,
desert.
because it was like bum,
and then of course they use a Burt,
bum.
the
I had
right?
told her, I was like, I know this. This is not original
Yes.
soundtrack. That dun 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 dun
yeah,
dun.
it's the Professionals.
And then like, okay, I was like, I knew I recognized that. I was like, that's not original.
Oh, and I didn't like.
I didn't notice the soundtrack at all.
they did it like the whole
I did not.
movie.
I
Like, that
didn't-
song played almost that whole movie.
I didn't notice any music in this movie. Like, if you had asked me was there music in this movie, or is there a soundtrack, or was there like background music, I would have said no.
There are some schools of thought that would say that that's probably
That's the point of it.
That's the point.
That's the
Yeah.
point of it.
That's,
That's
the,
why
a
they
good
tell you to.
soundtrack.
That's
yeah.
why they tell you to study it. But I mean, yeah, nothing. I don't recall anything musical about this movie.
I only remember that end, the timpani and the drum and the
Yeah.
castanets and stuff at the end.
Yeah, me too.
That happened every gunfight. Every
Oh, really?
gunfight that was
Yeah.
going on.
didn't-
Every like little
There you
high
go.
tension scene that they were trying
I
to
mean,
do. The car
Maybe
chase.
because it happens so
so much
I just-
that you just like
Yeah.
blended them together.
I think it didn't
because
happen at the
this whole
beginning of the
movie just
movie.
blends together.
Yeah. People tend to remember the first and last thing anyway.
I just have one more comment. I didn't like the title of this movie. We had talked.
I kept waiting to find out what the way of the gun.
Yes, I didn't like the
You
title.
know what? I expected something completely different, and I think that may be why I don't
Was
hate the
there a-
movie.
was
I
there a
just
Western?
wish I hadn't seen it.
Oh, I don't.
Was there a Western
Is this
titled
a reference
Way of the
to something
Gun?
else? I don't know.
I don't know.
This is one that pops
I mean, I know
up.
there's a lot of guns and all that stuff, but that doesn't make it.
Because that sounds a very Western title.
It does. You're right.
Way of the Gun.
But I don't know what the reference
Call me
is.
cheesy, but I wanted somewhere in the moment someone to in the movie.
It's the way of the
Yes,
gun.
Right.
I wanted someone to say it or use it or to explain it to me.
He said the title of the movie.
Or
And
like,
that's the
or
way
like
of the gun.
when Abner's trying to kill himself with the Russian roulette and it doesn't shoot him. I guess
That's
I'm
the
meant
way
to
of the
live.
gun.
It's the way of the gun.
Right? when they were both when they're both there dying, writhing on the ground. That's what
Yeah.
that's what it is. Benicio del Toro rolls over and looks, and that's the way
No.
of the gun.
No, James Caan would have said it to him as he's like laying him. And he's like,
Right.
"Sorry to leave you like this, but that's
It's the way of the
that's
gun.
the way of the gun.
You
Make
made
that choice. This is the way.
way of the gun.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Rolls-
many opportunities.
I just wanted something deep and philosophical from the way of the gun that I didn't get.
You didn't think that it was
You didn't think this movie was deep and philosophical?
the symbology of this movie.
The symbiologism is just-
Symbiologism. Yeah.
Excellent. So flippers. I will give. God, I'll give.
Don't.
I wish I could give like half a flipper.
No, it has been established that half flippers are not
Yeah.
allowed.
I know. I
Yeah.
said that's what I wish, but no flippers for me. Even though I did like the last gun battle,
It wasn't enough.
no flippers for me.
Andy.
I really want to give it a flipper just for punching Sarah Silverman.
Oh! I did see something. She's credited as raving bitch.
And I'm sure she wears that proudly.
Well, I mean, that's her whole shtick.
Yeah, I'm sure she's fine with that.
It's not the worst thing in the world.
No.
You get to see Sarah Silverman take one to the face. The Abner scenes are phenomenal. But overall, at the end of the day, I can't give it a flipper. I just
No.
can't give it a flipper, man.
Jesse?
It's gonna be a no. For me. Yeah.
Not a single flipper.
There's a couple. The Abner was the best part of this movie. I'm a better person for having seen those
Abner.
scenes with Abner and James, especially when him and James Caan at the end. But I can't do it. I can't do it.
I
with
kinda
the
like to
flippers.
be alone.
Well, how many? How many are we? What is that?
We're zero flippers at the moment.
Zero
Who's getting
flippers.
the lowest score?
Angie.
I can't.
No
I got
flippers.
none. I got none. I watched it and then I watched it again and
You watched it twice?
Well, because I listened to it once.
Oh.
And then
Oh,
and
she
then
was painting.
and,
that's
yes,
right.
and then I thought, well, maybe if I watch it, I'll get it, and I did not.
You would have been just fine
I would have
listening
been
to
just
it.
by listening to it. I got the same amount out of it. It was just
This
too,
would have been a great radio show.
probably
like I
Yeah,
think there was a
liked it
better
more.
movie in there that we didn't get.
Yeah,
I do.
yeah.
I agree.
The
I
movies,
agree.
the
The
movies
movies-
around it, though.
Around it.
The ones that were going on when these two smashed together.
This is really an 8-hour movie. This is like the only 2 hours I cut it down to.
This is the 2 hours they cut out.
Cut the shit out.
No flippers for me.
All right, Dougie.
Okay.
Is this? Did you agree with the critics on this one?
Oh no, I like the movie enough that I've seen it, and out of all the list of movies, when I looked at the list, this was a movie I had wanted to see more than any of the other ones. But I'll give it 1. I mean,
All right, one.
It's not my
One.
favorite
Wait,
movie.
wait to defend your
out of
movie.
10.
First one flipper.
Yeah.
First one
Our
flipper.
lowest scoring
One
flipper
flipper.
so far.
Yeah, we haven't
Right.
we haven't gotten a 0 flippers,
Well,
did we? Did
probably
we?
would have
Well, we
if
just
would've
enacted
started
the flippers too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
What movie?
If we retro one day, maybe we'll retro one day. We'll take a whole episode. We'll just retro flipper all of the
Cinderella movie. you made.
Oh no!
No.
I
didn't- I gave
There's two
it-
flippers up right here.
No.
No, we're not getting into that again.
I would have definitely given that a flipper, and you would have given that a flipper, right?
Doug would have given
Are you
that.
talking
I would have given
Cinderella?
Yes.
The
They-
Ever
they-
After.
Wait,
No,
ever,
you-
ever after,
They
right? Oh, that gets
lived.
2 flippers for
Yes.
me.
See, no, I mean that's not.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, with me alone,
Yeah,
it's already better than
already,
this
yeah.
one.
Right now, we're moving on.
Oh, I'd like to. Can we can if you want to.
If you want to watch it
If you want to
again,
break
No,
open that again.
I don't.
that's right.
Thank you,
That was
though.
your pick.
That was my pick for the worst movie ever.
But
So what you wanted out of
But
this
the
movie
point
was for
was
like at the
that
end to be
they
like,
I wanted Ryan Phillippe to turn to Benicio del Toro and say, "We lived. No. We lived the way of God."
okay, hey,
Nice little bow on that.
All right, so that's a 1 flipper movie. Way of the Gun is a
First one
1
ever.
flipper movie.
One flipper.
Gang, that about does it for our Way of the Gun episode. 2000s, The Way of the Gun, Ryan Phillippe's vehicle, The Way of the Gun. Gang, we have a Facebook fan page. It's The Dirty Penguin Presents. We have an Instagram fan page, The Dirty Penguin Presents. We have a Twitter fan page, @DirtyPresents. You can go find us anywhere on the social medias, or at least at those 3 places. You can find us on the internets at thedirtypenguinpresents.com. Email us, go to our social media sites, leave comments on our episodes on our website. Go to our YouTube page, The Dirty Penguin Presents, and leave some comments there.
We want to hear from you.
Absolutely. Our final movie of this season, the season named, what was it? Critically panned, audience loved. That's right. Critically panned, audience loved. The final movie in our season will be what, gang?
lucky
Lucky number
11.
11.
Lucky number 11. That's right. What? It's 2006,
Seven.
right? 2007.
I believe.
Josh Hartnett, Bruce Willis, several others. Yeah. Ben Kingsley.
Sir Ben Kingsley.
Yep. Gandhi himself. All right, gang. Thanks for joining us in the igloo.
you.
We'll see you next time, and squawk dirty.
Wow.